Hi guys, welcome to episode 14. In this one, I'm going to be getting the back subframe in and getting the engine and gearbox in position. So first things first, chuck some wheels on the front. I got some casters on the back on a plank of wood just to support the back end, and I enlisted the help of my brothers to come down and give me a hand to get it out because my driveway is quite steep. So we got it out, turned it round and pushed it back in. Ready for surgery. I could argue that this is the first drive, but I think you've got to have 4 wheels on the car and a steering column for it to qualify. Anyway, now it's turned around, I can get it jacked up, back up on the stands, and get the back end cut out. Now before I go cutting anything, I'm just doing some cross measuring. So I'm going from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, recording the measurement, doing the same the other side. I'm using green pen to do that, and then I'm using a blue pen to do the direct left to right horizontal measurements. This is just so that when I've got everything cut out, I can make sure the body hasn't moved, and I've got a record then when I'm doing welding, making sure that I'm keeping everything straight and true and everything's square. I'm using the thin cut-off discs. They're about 1mm thick, I think, and they make pretty short work of these panels. It only took me about 2 hours to get this all cut out. Now that that's all out the way, I can start leveling up the body. To do this, I got these caravan helpers. The levelers, I got them off Amazon. I think they're about £45 a set. I got a couple of sets of them, one to hold the car up and the other one then to level up the subframe when I'm ready to put that in. You'll be surprised how long this can take to get right. especially with an uneven floor like I've got. And that's it level front to back, and that's side to side. Now I've got the subframe jacked up into position. I've just chucked it on some jack stands for now, and I'm using these straps to just hold the weight of it from the top of the roll cage, just to support it, so if a stand lets go or anything like that, it's got it held and it's not just going to drop on the floor. So using these leveling stands, I can get the jack out of the way for the minute, get this leveled up, and I realised that I need to move it to the right a little bit. And it's right about now that I realised I've made a mistake. Good thing I put those straps there. So, let's try that again, shall we? And I'll put the stands in a better position this time, and try and get the subframe square before I do so. So that's it level. It's level with the body. Body's reading 0, subframe's reading 0. So I can start now making up the mounting plates. So I'm making these cups first. This is the same thickness as the roll cage. It's the same material, the 45mm 2.6mm wall. And then I'm just using some 3mm thick washers, M14 hole, to weld around the outside, and then I can use that to secure the subframe to the roll cage. I decided the best way to hold them down was to, as you can see, drill a hole in the table, put a nice big long M14 through, and then hold them down with a nut. Just check they're true with the tri-square, tack them together, do that to all 4, and then I can fully weld them. So as you can see, just 3 small tacks. It doesn't have to be crazy. You only want to hold them into position. And you can see I've put a little bevel on here so that I can get good penetration when I weld them fully. So I'll just get them fully welded up now, and we can get them bolted on. So that's then bolted up. Now I can just clean off the welds where I'm going to be attaching these tubes to. This one was a little long. You see the roll cage move a little bit there. So I'm just trimming it down a little bit so as it just fits snug, and the measurements are the same both sides then. So I'll make up 2 of these, and that'll be about a 45-degree angle up to the top corner, and then I'll make another one to go horizontally out to the bottom leg. So now onto the front and doing the same again. I've measured both sides, as you can see here. Measured front to back, side to side, and I've also done diagonal measurements from the edges to the center of the car, and then from the edges to the center of the roof. So I know then the level's correct. Even though the gauge was telling me the level's correct, it never hurts to double check with the measuring tape. I know everything's in the right place, so I can start tacking everything together. I've also put the lower center beam in, so when the engine's in place, I know how much room I've got to put some more supports from that to the subframe mountings, just to stiffen it up a little bit more, because it's going to be running so much power. I don't want them twisting very easily, so I'd rather put a bit more material in there, get it a bit stiffer, and then I'm happy. So once everything was tacked into place, I've gone round and fully seam welded all these. The bits that I can get at, there's one or two small areas where it's close to the body I can't get at, but I'm going to be cutting access holes there anyway, so I can do that at a later date. But for now, for what I need to do, this is perfectly fine. I had to cut these center sections out of the subframe, which I'm not too worried about because I'm going to be making custom subframes for this anyway out of tube. So I've made this section removable. I welded tabs on the top and screwed them, drilled and screwed them into the subframe. So when I'm ready to make my jig to make the tube subframe, I can put this back on, tack weld it back in place, and I know everything's square and straight. I've also done the same with the front, again using tabs on there and screwing it in. So now we can get the engine in place. At this point it looks like there's loads of room until you actually get the engine in and you realise there's not much room around it. And the worst part of this was the floor wasn't helping me. Anyway, with the engine in place, I got it pretty central. It probably needs to move another 5mm to the right from this perspective, so to the left of the car. But that's a problem for another day. I'm just concerned about getting it in, getting it leveled up for now, so that I can see what I've got to do to get it in permanently. All in all, it wasn't too bad to do. Considering I was on my own, it was easier than I thought it was going to be. I'm just doing some final checks here, make sure it's level. And then I need to drop the back end down of the gearbox. It needs to come down around about 20 to 25mm. So I'm making this jig to go from the outer wishbone holes to the inner track control arm mounting points. This way again when I pull the subframe out, because I'll be cutting this out of the way, this will give me reference points as to where these holes have got to be for the track rods to go back into place. I'm not going to get back to this for probably 3 or 4 days now, so I'm just putting this stand under the back just to support the weight of the gearbox and keep it off the subframe. The engine's ended up about 70mm above the base of the floor, which I'm not too worried about because I need to account for a 45mm tube that I can then pull the mountings off. So that's going to give me plenty of room and about another 25mm of clearance. It's starting to look like it was made to fit in that hole. I'm quite pleased with how it's come out, or gone in as the case is. The drive shaft flanges are lining up pretty well with the hubs. Everything seems as I was expecting. So next time I'll be getting the mounts made up, and once that's done I can get the engine and box back out and get the tube frame made up for the subframe. So I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.